Hello, my friends. Welcome to Tuesday Tips. I am Gina Zwig with Positive Life Dog Training, and it is Tuesday, I don't know the day, June 29th, almost to the end of June. And this, as most of you know, is Rory. Look at this boy. You know what? He doesn't feel good. He's had some tummy trouble last couple of days, and so, sorry, buddy. Then I poked him in the face. He had a little diarrhea yesterday, early morning, and I don't know, I was gonna bring him to the vet, and they said, you should maybe call an emergency vet. And then the emergency vet said, just feed him. Hi, Tracy. Nice to see you here. The emergency vet said, just watch him, like give him a bland diet, and then watch him for signs of dehydration. And so he doesn't seem quite lethargic, but definitely not himself. He did go, oh my gosh, he just has his head. You okay, bud? Oh, look, he's sitting up, but with his head turned to, oh, there we go. That's better. Isn't that so sad? He's usually so happy and bouncy, and he is none of that. I feel really bad for him, but I'm really, really hoping he just gets better on his own, but I'm definitely watching him. So anyway, so last week, if you were here and if you saw the video blog too, I kind of added a little bit to the Tuesday tip for that. And so last week we talked about long leash walks and allowing our dogs to sniff to their heart's content. And so this week kind of ties into that. But because sniffing does fall under the heading of enrichment, and while that's not completely the topic, today we're going to be kind of broadening that a little bit and just talking about how do we know if our dog's needs are really being met. So what I mean by that is sometimes there will be a behavior issue that, when there's something that your dog is doing, you don't want her to do, or not doing that you would like her to do, we usually think in terms of, well, how can we fix this behavior? How can we get our dog to stop doing this thing, typically? And so I would just like to challenge you to maybe think through a little bit different filter on that. What if we thought, and I'm really only just starting to think like this. I've been hearing this teaching just more and more. It's so funny how sometimes I'll just even without hearing a teaching, I'll just be really thinking on something through my own experience with Rory, or pairing that up with experiences that I have with my clients and their dogs, and just seeing a need or questions that come up, and or something that I need to get better at. So a lot of what I talk about is just what I'm dealing with right now. So the idea has been, has been on my mind a lot about just meeting our dog's needs, and I'll kind of tell you what I mean by that. But then it's funny what I'm going to say. It's funny that I've really been thinking about that, and then it just seems like every teaching that I tune into now is also talking about that. So I'm not the only one who has that on my brain right now. So what I mean is okay, I actually put these in a list because you know how I always lose my train of thought. But when you're dealing with some kind of behavior issue, or maybe just you feel like maybe just something's going on with your dog, ask yourself these 4 questions. Let's just think through this filter. The first one is it possible that there's a need that my dog has that's not being completely met? And so some of these needs to consider, you could think through, and they're more than this, so this is just kind of what I've been thinking about lately. But I would also love to hear from you if you can think of others that maybe you and your dog have experienced, or that you realized, or you see with other people's dogs in certain needs that are being met. And so some of these are, hi Diana, Welcome. Very nice to see you here. Okay, so some needs of our dogs that could be possibly going unmet or partially unmet. Just enough physical exercise and the kind of physical exercise that your dog most enjoys. And that is not the same for every dog. So just going on a regular walk doesn't necessarily fulfill a need. The need for there, it's important, but it doesn't necessarily fulfill that need in every dog in the same way, right? Or the same kind of walk. Mental stimulation. So that would include sniffing. Again, there's the sniffing, digging, chewing, licking, any kind of problem-solving activity. That would include training, you working with your dog in like a short training session. You've heard me say that before. It just totally tires them out mentally and challenges them in a really good way, in ways that they need to be using their brain. Any enrichment activities in general, and we've talked about a lot of those. I think I will in the links in the video blog that I'm going to put out this week, or I'll probably put it in the comments in this video also in the group, is the it's a PDF for enrichment activities, and it's got like links to some of the things are for purchase, some are just kind of DIY, but I will include that this week because it completely ties in also. Some other things that needs that your dog might have is okay, so we talked about training. Like training in a specific area, like say if, you know, your dog is just displaying some sort of behavior issue, maybe they actually do need a little more training in that area. And then ask yourself, like, does my dog have the skill for the level of success that I'm expecting in this context? So a lot of times when our dog isn't able to do, like, oh, I thought they knew that, and all of a sudden they're not doing it, it's like, well, it's just information they're giving you that says, I haven't been trained up to this level in the context in which you're asking it. So I think we've talked about that before too, but that's just, you know, some things like, well, in that case, like, what does my dog need? Well, specific to that, it would be more training in this current context. Maybe one of the needs could be access to other dogs or people. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take your dog to a dog park. Not every dog, it's not safe for every dog, and not every dog loves being in a big group, but maybe if your dog loves being with other dogs, you could set up like a little doggy play date with one of your friends, a trusted dog. And we don't really think about this. Like, we really need to socialize with us, with our friends, and some dogs just, it's really important to them and they love that. And if they just never have that, it's, again, can be possibly an unmet need. Adequate playtime, either just with toys or just running around, or playtime with you, and some kind of interactive play with you. And then that leads to just time with you in general. Do they get enough time with you? They in general like to spend time with us. And I know we all do our best with that, but you know, it's just another thing to think through. Sometimes we're doing better with that than others. Enough rest. Is your dog getting enough rest? That's not something we often think of, but sometimes it could be just busy, or your just schedule has changed and their sleep schedule is a little messed up. So that's just something to consider. So think about like okay, so that was actually, how many questions is this? This is really bad. I have 1 and then 1, 2, 3. So we'll say 2. So the first one is ask the question, is it possible that my dog has a need that's not being completely met? And then I went and listed what some of those needs could be. The second is just, what does my dog really enjoy? What makes her super happy? Just think through that. Just think of some of those things. You may already know, and maybe your dog is able to engage in all of those things all of the time, but maybe not. And then 3 is she able to safely engage in these activities that make her super happy on a pretty regular basis. So just ask yourself that. Think about if the way he or she is acting lately could be impacted by maybe a lack of that. Just being able to do more of what makes her super happy. And then the fourth one is how could I safely provide her with more opportunities for some of these outlets? So pretty simple. So it's those four things to think through. Just an example of what like a common unmet need could be, there are a lot. And I also want to just say that when to ask these questions and to say, like, is there possibly a need that your dog has that's going unmet? I don't want you to think or feel like, oh, how am I failing my dog, right? We just don't want to go there because then we kind of get stuck there. So, I mean, we all are doing better at some times than at others, but I think if we can at least just ask some good questions that sometimes just one small tweak can make your dog's life better. And in my opinion, when your dog's life is better, your life is usually better too. So here's just an example of a possible unmet need is your dog's need to run. And so again, you know your dog best. And so think about not every dog loves that. We have certain dogs that, okay, couch potatoes. He's not really just a couch potato, but these last couple of days, completely and pretty low energy. Look at that. He's just so sound asleep. It's really sad. I might call the vet. Are you okay, buddy? You know what did I say this already on another video? Oh, wait, it's not doing it right now. A lot of times when he's really tired, his little tongue sticks out. And he's been doing that a lot lately because he's just really tired. I just think it's so cute. And it's a little bit sad. Anyway, if you know that your dog really likes to run, and sometimes it's hard to, like, you only have time for just that walk on your regular route, and you're not a runner, and but just think about, like, how could I provide my dog, if I know my dog likes to run, how could I provide that for even a short time every day? Like, even if it's in the house, like, what could I throw, if the weather's bad or whatever, what could I throw around the house? Or maybe your dog likes to chase you, or let you chase your dog, or play fetch, or throw a frisbee, or throw a ball, if your dog likes that. So again, this does not apply to every dog, but many dogs need to run, and a lot of times they're just in just a day in the life, they're not often provided with that opportunity because it doesn't often fit into our lives. So if you don't have a fenced-in yard where you feel like you could just let your dog run, you could go to just like kind of a wide open space and put a long lead on your dog, throw the frisbee that way, if he goes a little too far, or just for that safety measure, you could easily grab the end of that leash and keep him safe. So I almost do this backwards. So say that need is not being met, and then I skipped ahead to suggestions on what I was going to say. The possible unmet need is your dog needs to run, and they're not able to run much. Some possible resulting behavior issues could be, and some that I see, where dogs just have all this pent-up energy, and just being able to just get into a full-on run would help. It might not be the total answer, but what if it could help or take the edge off? Sometimes we'll see just extra pulling on leash, jumping up on people, excessive barking, chewing on furniture, other things that are forbidden. There's just a general frustration and pent-up energy. And so if you just think of that one thing, like, how could I provide my dog an outlet to just run? When we had Charlie, our old English sheepdog, now he didn't need to like run. He wasn't super fast. Sort of had like a clumsy little canter, so cute. But it made him so happy for me to chase him around the house with his bone. He had his bone in his mouth, and for me to just chase him around the house, I just can't believe how happy that made him. So now I wish I had done it more, or maybe engaged with him outside with that. But I don't know why, he just really liked that. That was fun for him. So you know your dog, what makes he or she super happy. Oh yeah, I already went into the possible solutions for that because I got ahead of myself. So next week, I know. So in the video blog this week, I'm just going to go a little bit more in depth into what we're talking about. I have another couple of examples that I'm thinking about, like with a behavior issue, and then what the possible unmet need is, and then how that could easily be addressed. Sometimes it really is a small tweak. It doesn't mean you need to turn your life upside down, or enter into some kind of high commitment training program, just some easy fixes. So the whole idea is just to think through a different filter. Are my dog's needs being met? Are there some behavior issues or something that cropped up, or something that we would like to be better? Just think through. Is there a reason for that? And could the reason be, well, there always is a reason for some kind of behavior issue, but could the reason be that we are not fully meeting the needs of my dog? And so again, the questions to ask, that's the first one. Could it be because of a at least partially unmet need? 2, what does my dog really enjoy? What makes her super happy? 3, is she able to safely engage in these activities that she loves on a pretty regular basis? And 4, how could I safely provide more opportunities for her for these outlets? So that's about all that I have for you. Watch for the vlog this week. I think it's going to be possibly more written. I don't know. I always decide that kind of last minute. But I hope you are so I think it's going to be the 4th of July before I see you, right? When is the 4th? On Sunday. So have a safe and happy 4th of July. Keep your dogs safe. Oh, just really quick, we did have Rory at, let's do this. We boarded him for this wedding party that we had here. I just thought it would be best. And he did really well there. It was at a couple's home, and they have board dogs in their home. And he had all freedom and was able to play with other dogs safely, and I think he did really well. But there were fireworks nearby, and so they told me he was really scared. So we have more work to do on that. So think about that. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, about preparing for the 4th of July, fireworks, thunderstorms, all of that. So I'm going to be trying to work on some of that and just trying to keep him calm. I hope that's on your radar as well, and you keep yourself safe as well. And we will see you back here next week. Have a wonderful week.